I recently played through the Unova region and the Kalos region, but now the question is, which region do we play through next? My answer will be the Hoenn region. Today, we will be playing Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Although I played these games 3 years ago, I want to do much more than just a casual playthrough of my favorite generation. So along the video, we will be beating many of the challenges that I set for the specific playthrough, like completing the main game and the post game, catching all the available legendary Pokemon, and leveling up a Pokemon all the way to level 100 and much more. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one. And if you like watching these things live, follow my Twitch channel too. Now without further ado, let's get started. Like always, the region's professor greets us, and this time it's Professor Birch. After welcoming us to the world of Pokemon, we find ourselves in the back of a moving truck. This is some sort of war crime, but I'm not sure about it. We walk out of the back of the truck and we are met with the relaxing and nostalgic sight of Little Root Town. We get inside our new home and fix the clock before coming downstairs to have a brief conversation with Mom. She tells us to go visit the next door neighbor's kid. As we invade our rival's privacy, he formally introduces himself as Brendan, the son of the professor. In a rush, he dashes off and we follow behind him. We hear a cry for help coming from the tall grass out on Route 101. We find Birch in a pickle being chased by a Poochyena. He tells us to quickly pick up a Pokeball from his bag that is on the ground. Out of the 3 starters, we picked Trico, the first ever Pokemon I chose when I first played Emerald back in 2004. With Trico, we show that Pooch who the boss here is and save Birch from being eaten alive. Birch then takes us back to his lab, and as a gift for saving his thick behind, he lets us have Trico and add it as our first Pokemon to our team. Afterwards, we head to Route 103 to find his son Brendan. Brendan challenges us after seeing that we got hold of our first Pokemon. Of course, we leave Brendan and his Torchic in the dust and head back to the professor. Birch hands us our own Pokédex, and we head to leave town to Petalburg City, but not before we have a brief and loving conversation with Mom. We catch a Lotad and a Ralts and add it to the team before entering Petalburg City, where we find our dad mocking a little child for being defeated in battle. Now I know where I got my competitive trait from. We head inside with our dad into his gym, where we're introduced to Wally, our quote-unquote rival. We watch Wally catch a Ralts for himself before heading into Petalburg Woods. Making our way through the forest, we come across a grunt ambushing a scared scientist, telling him to hand over his parts. Hey yo, pause. We show that grunt who is boss around these parts of town. The scientist heads back to Rustboro City, and we follow him. As we enter the city, we find Brendan coming out of the Pokemon before running off. Without wasting any time, we head to the first gym where Roxanne greets us. Roxanne isn't ready to catch these hands. After defeating all the trainers in the gym, we come face to face with Roxanne. And since we have a type advantage, her Geodudes go down with a couple of Mega Drains. Nosepass is our ace, and with 2 more Mega Drains, we leave that Nosepass with a runny nose. Okay, I'll stop the punny jokes now. Apparently, Trico liked that joke because our tree boy evolves into a Grovyle. We forcefully take the gym badge out of Roxanne's hands right before we chase down a grunt that stole parts from the scientist that we met earlier. We find an old man in front of Rust Turf Tunnel, where the grunt ran into. This grunt stole some parts and took a Wingull hostage? Not on my watch. He doesn't get away with this. We give him the 1-2 combo, take the parts, and take Pico back to the old man safely. We return to Rustboro City, where the scientist takes us to the CEO of Devoncorp. We hand him the stolen parts, as he gives us a letter to give to his son, Steven Stone. We backtrack a few to the cabin where the old man and Pico live. Thanks to our heroism, he says that we can take a free boat ride anytime we need, and we do just that. We open sail to Dewford Town, where we find Steven and even challenge the second gym. We enter the gym first and battle against Brawly, the fighting type gym leader. But right before we make it to Brawly, our little Lotad evolves into a Lombre. We start a battle with Brawly, and since Ralts is a Psychic-type Pokemon, he's a breeze to defeat, and we take the second gym badge for ourselves. After beating Brawly, we head north into Granite Cave and find Steven, observing markings from thousands of years ago painted across the cave. We hand Steven the letter his father gave to us before we set sail to Slateport City. And of course, I forgot to add our Pokemon on the screen, but let's pretend that they were there all along. While in Slateport, we talk to Doc, and he asks us to hand some parts over to Captain Stern over at the museum. As we find and hand over the parts to the captain, grunts interrupt us, and I don't like unwanted visitors, so we take care of both of them one by one. That's where Archie, the head of Team Aqua, walks in. And talk about aura, cause this guy is just a walking aura fountain. He leaves us with a warning and heads out along with the grunts. As we're about to head to the next city, we find a crowd of people alongside a TV crew. The superstar Licia pulls us from the crowd, and we head into the contest hall where one of our challenges lies. We get all ready and dressed up and enter one of the contests for cuteness with Ralts. We amaze the crowd with our amazing skills and won. As a reward for being first, we are rewarded with a special Pikachu. This isn't any ordinary Pikachu. She is a superstar. We dress our Pikachu up in the coolest clothes and finish in first place once again. For now, that's enough of the contest hall. We have more important things to do, like fighting our rival, Brendan over at Route 110. After beating Brendan and his chicken, we head north to Malval City. They changed the city entirely, and I don't know if I like it all that much. We see Wally and his dad in front of us before Wally jets off to challenge the gym. Before we head into the next gym, we head into the bike store and get a Mac bike for ourselves. Afterwards, we find Wally begging his dad to challenge the gym. As soon as Wally sees us, he challenges us to a battle to show his dad that he is strong enough to take on the gym. Spoiler alert, he ain't. We crush his hopes and dreams and send him crying. Step aside, Wally, the big boys are in town. We head into the gym to challenge Watson, the electric type gym leader. With Grovyle and the help of Pikachu's lightning rod, we take down Watson easily. Now, give me that gym badge, old man. Freshly out of the gym, we overhear some Team Aqua grunts talking about Mount Chimney. And my guess is that's where we're heading next on the list. Before heading up the mountain, we sidetrack to Verdan Turf Town, where Ralts evolves into a Curlia, and we reunite a couple after we catch a Zigzagoon and teach it Rock Smash. Enough of the detour. We continue our way to Fall Arbor Town, where we find a young lady asking Brendan and me to help a man named Professor Cosmo, who's been kidnapped by Team Aqua. Brendan heads to Meteor Falls, and we follow. As we head inside Meteor Falls, we come across Shelly, one of Archie's right-hand men, or should I say right-hand woman? I won't lie, she got me a little flustered. We battle and defeat her and the grunt next to her. Right as we do, Maxie, the leader of Team Magma, steps in. As a last-ditch effort, Team Aqua steals the meteorite that Professor Cosmos is holding on to and scrams while Maxie chases after them. We don't waste any time and head straight for the mountain. We get into a cable car that takes us all the way up to the top, where we find Team Aqua and Team Magma grunts fighting each other. We battle Shelly once more and wipe the drool off my chin before coming face to face with Archie. With the meteorite he stole, Archie plans to make it into a Mega Stone or even a Keystone. Before spoiling all his plans to us, he challenges us to a battle. Archie's only real threat is his Mighty Anna, and that's only because he kept using Roar and switching my Pokemon throughout the whole battle. After taking down his Mighty Anna with Leaf Blades, Sharpedo and Golbat go down to a 1-2 combo from Grovyle and Pikachu, winning us the match. Archie gets an urgent call and heads to Mount Pyre and hands us the meteorite back. Maxie strides along while having an inner monologue to himself and just walks off. He's such a weird guy. After all that, we head down the mountain to Lava Ridge Town to challenge the Force Gym member that lies here. This being a Fire-type Pokemon gym, we can't really count on our Treeboy now, can we? Luckily, with Lombre, this gym was also a breeze to complete. After defeating all the trainers inside and their quote-unquote Fire-type Pokemons, Grovyle finally evolves into his final evolution, Sceptile. As we hit the Flannery, she leaves us death in one ear before sending out her Slugma. And to that, I say slug my Tads and send out Lombre and take it out with the Bubble Beam. Torgo comes out next and hangs on with some HP before going down to another Bubble Beam. Lastly, Hernumal doesn't stand a chance and goes down to just one Bubble Beam. 4 badges down, only 4 more to go. Brendan bumps into us and hands us the Go Goggles, which we will need to get the Root Fossil later on. Next on the gym list is in Petalburg City, where our dad is the gym leader. We head into the gym and make it to Dad. He gives us the old silent treatment and accepts our challenge to battle him. Since we have Macho Libre Pikachu on our side, this will be an easy fight, or so I thought. Without taking even one of his Slackings down, Pikachu goes down in one shot. We send out Sceptile and chip down Slacking's HP little by little till it goes down. Vigoroth was the same, but easier. His last Slacking is up next and hits a Retaliate, leaving Sceptile with only 20 HP. Phew, that was a close call. We heal up and Leaf Blade till Slacking is no more. Still holding up the silent treatment from Dad, he silently hands over the 5th gym badge. We both head outside and see Wally and his father standing outside the gym. Wally's father then hands us the HM for Surf, and we tag along with Wally back to Malval City. This time we head east and surf across the ocean to find Steven. Out of nowhere, Latios approaches us and we hop on his back, where it takes us to his sibling Latias. As we approach Latias, Team Aqua comes along and tries to take Latias for themselves. We tear up their silly little plans in a double battle with Steven and sending them blasting off again. As a thanks for saving his life, Latias forms an alliance with us and joins the rest of the gang. Steven gives us a Mega Stone bracelet and the Mega Stone for Latias before heading back with Steven and parting ways for now. Not too long later, we make it to the Weather Institution, where we find Shelly and Team Aqua up to no good. Shelly then smacks one of the scientists across the face. I wish that was me, to be honest, but we gotta take Shelly down and defeat her in battle till she and Team Aqua leave the building. Brendan stops us for another rival battle against him. Sceptile takes out his Wailmer, while Lombre takes out his Fire Chicken. Shroomish also goes down to Leaf Blades from Sceptile. After the battle, Curly evolves into her final evolution, Gardevoir. Brendan hands over the HM for Fly before rushing off into the distance. We set foot into Fort Tree City, but before we can head into the gym, we head east and meet up with Steven. He gives us the Devon Scope that allows us to see the invisible Cacleon. Afterwards, Steven gives us a Mega Stone for Sceptile, and we head back to Fort Tree City to use the newly acquired Devon Scope and open the way that was being blocked by an invisible Cacleon. We head into the gym and Mega Evolve Sapphire for the first time ever, and make our way to the gym leader, Winona. We take our burbs out one by one with our tree and obtain the 6th gym badge. We head east of 4-Tree City and find a bunch of Team Aqua Grunts heading out to Mount Pyre. We head inside and then head to the top of the mountain to find Archie and his right hand man stealing the blue orb and leaving us with admin Matt to deal with us. We take out Matt Sharpedo and he leaves as well. The other people entrust us with the red orb and ask us to bring the blue orb safely. We quickly make it to Lily Cove City, where we find Brendan yet again, asking us to another battle. In no time, we defeat Brendan and his Blaziken, and find the headquarters for Team Aqua. Unfortunately, we have to backtrack to Slateport and find Archie and the others, stealing a submarine from the port. After finishing off the grunts to slow us down, we head back to the headquarters and find Matt standing in front of the submarine that's now been modified. Another quick battle with Matt, he stalls us just enough so that Archie can make a run for it. After hearing this, we chase after them, but not until we head to Moss Deep City, first to challenge Liza and Tate, the Psychic-type leaders. By the way, did I say how much I love the designs of the gym in the remake? The layouts and the atmospheres of the gyms are so cool. I'm always in awe looking at them. Coming back to Liza and Tate, they only have Soul Rock and Lunatone. With Mega Sceptile and Lombre, this is an easy W. Only a couple Leaf Blades and Hydro Pump, Liza and Tate fall down to their knees as we take the 7th gym badge, leaving us with only one more badge to collect. As we exit the gym, a huge rumbling comes out from the seafloor. A pillar of light shoots out from the depths of the sea. Steven comes rushing to us and invites us to his home. Steven gives us the HM for dive, and we head to Route 128 to investigate. We dive down and head back up to see the stolen modified submarine at the entrance of a cavern. A few puzzles and grunts later, we find Archie and Maxie at the bottom of the cavern. We battle Archie and his Mega Evolved Sharpedo and win the battle, but it's too late. Archie uses the blue orb to revive the legendary Pokemon Kyogre back to life. Kyogre shoots up to the surface and wreaks havoc upon the region. Archie, happy that his plan is in motion, gets a call and realizes that he's made a great mistake, reviving Kyogre. Altogether, we come up to the surface and are faced with the aftermath that is Kyogre. Steven joins us and tells us to get to Sutopolis City and fix this crisis. We fly over to Sutopolis City and find Steven with a man called Wallace, Hoen's 8th gym leader and the protector of the Cave of Origins. In front of the entrance of the cave, Archie, Maxie, and Shelly are waiting for us. Shelly gives us the Aqua Suit and sends us in to stop Kyogre, while Brendan joins along and encourages us before heading inside to ride on Kyogre and head down to the deep core. Kyogre turns into his primal revision, aka Mega Kyogre. After paralyzing and lowering Kyogre's HP, we throw Ultra Balls non-stop to catch Kyogre. Thanks to us, we stop Kyogre's rampage on the region and save many lives of people and Pokemon. We head out of the cave and find Brendan next to Steven, filled with joy that we made it out alive. Archie and Maxie come to the senses that the plans that they had only deal harm to the world. Both of them thank us for saving the world, and Archie hands us the blue orb to control Kyogre at will. And with that happy ending, we have finished Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Just kidding. We have plenty more things to do. And the first thing is to challenge Wallace for the final gym badge. Fun fact in Emerald, Wallace is not the 8th gym leader, but Juan is. The more you know. I remember this gym's puzzle as a kid, and still to this day I struggle to get the puzzle right without falling through the ground. Literally 10 minutes, we make it to Wallace. After showing how caked up he is, he sends out Love Disc, while we send out Sceptile and Mega Evolve him at the start. Love Disc doesn't stand a chance against a couple of Leaf Blades, and the same goes for Milotic. In fact, neither Celio, Wishcash, and Seaking can withstand the powerhouse that is our boy Tree. Probably the easiest win of our career. Wallace hands over the 8th and final gym badge, along with the HM for Waterfall. Since we have saved the world and collected all the required gym badges, there's nothing to do left but to challenge the Elite Four and the champion. Setting sail on Kyogre's back, we travel to Evergrande City and use the Waterfall HM to climb up the side before entering Victory Road. We make our way through Victory Road and battle various trainers and find Wally standing at the end of the road. Wally thanks us for challenging him throughout our journey and making him a stronger and better trainer. With eyes of certainty, Wally challenges us for the last time. We Mega Evolve without wasting any time and take his Altaria out with a super effective dual chop to the face. Next is his Delcatty. RKO that cat till it's no more. Up next is Roselia. As an answer, we send out Gardevoir and use Psychic to one-shot Roselia. Second to last, Wally sends out Magneton as we bring back Pikachu, but then Volt Switch into Sceptile. One Leaf Blade and an Earthquake, short-circuiting Magneton. Finally, he sends out his Gallade, Mega Evolving it against our Gardevoir. We take some damage before his Gallade uses a close combat, taking us down to 18 HP. We use a Disarming Voice, taking Gallade down to 1 HP. Before he takes Gardevoir down, we switch into Linoone, tanking a Psycho hit and retaliating with the Slash, taking Gallade down once and for all. Defeated Wally sighs, but shows us his gratitude for not holding back and hands us a Dawnstone. We walk past Wally and walk into the Pokemon League. But before we head in and challenge the league, we take a detour and catch ourselves a Bagon over at Meteor Falls and add it to the team. With our team all set up and ready to go, we head into the doors that take us to the first Elite Four member, Sydney. Wasting no time, we challenge him and Mega Evolve Sceptile. He sends out Mightyena and uses Swagger, which ups our attack but confuses us. Luckily, we have a Prison Berry to snap Sceptile out of confusion and take Mightyena out with a single X-Scissor. Absol also goes down to a single X-Scissor, alongside Sharpedo, which also goes down to just a single Leaf Blade. Shrifty and Cacturn share the same fate as the rest of this team. That's the first member down, and we haven't even broken a sweat. Impressed with our battle, Bagon evolves into a soccer ball known as Shelgon. Next is Phoebe, and the creepy ghost behind her. No joke, it was 4 AM playing this part, and I got the creeps. Talk about Pokemon creepypasta. Phoebe starts off with one of her ghost Pokemon, Dusclops. 2 Leaf Blades to the face, and Dusclops turns into dust. As Dusknoir comes out, we send out Shelgon. After dealing laughable damage to Dusknoir, I think it's best that we stick with our Tree Boy. We Leaf Blade almost taking out her Dusknoir, but fainting in the process. But Latias comes in strong with Mist Balls, taking out her Dusknoir in just 2 hits. Sableye gives us some trouble, taking Latias out in cold. Kyogre comes out to avenge his fallen comrades, with Ice Beam freezing Sableye in his place. Banette tanks the Ice Beam from Kyogre, but goes out to another Ice Beam to the face. Her last Pokemon is Banette. Kyogre almost takes out Banette with another Ice Beam, and Banette uses Spite to take away all the remaining PPs for Ice Beam, leaving us with only 1 PP left that we use to finish off the battle. Third Elite Four member is Glacia, and our Ice-type Pokemon. Pikachu hits a Flying Press on our Glalie, bringing Glalie down to red HP before she uses a full restore. Pikachu, being persistent, takes down Glalie with more Flying Presses. As she sends out Frostlass, we send out Kyogre to use Origin Pulse to take out Frostlass in one fell swoop. Walrein is up next, and we switch into Sceptile to use a Mega Evolve Leaf Blade to take it out for good. Another Frostlass means another Origin Pulse from Kyogre. Lastly, she sends out another Glalie that doesn't take an Origin Pulse to the face all too well. One last member before we can challenge the champion. We head into Drake's chamber to start out the battle with Pikachu, cause I forgot to switch Pokemons. Oops. We quickly Volt Switch into Sceptile and use a Mega Evolve Dual Chop, taking Altaria down to red HP before Drake uses a full restore. 2 more Dual Chops and Altaria comes crashing down. Kingdra comes out and absolutely destroys our Tree Boy. However, Pikachu comes in hot, taking that fish out with a Thunderbolt. Drake sends in Flygon next, and we switch into Kyogre, taking Flygon out with one shot with an Origin Pulse. Drake's final Pokemon is Salamence. Salamence, being faster than Kyogre, almost takes us down with a single Dragon Rush, but Kyogre barely hangs on and hits back with the Ice Beam, taking Salamence down to win us the battle and advance to the Champion's Chamber, where Steven Stone is the region's champion. Another fun fact, in Pokemon Emerald, the champion isn't Steven, but Wallace. But I like Steven being the champion so much better than Wallace. Enough of the history lessons, it's time to battle Steven and become the new champion of Hoenn. Steven starts out with his Skarmory, and after dealing 0 to none damage with Sceptile, we switch into Pikachu as Skarmory sets up spikes on the ground. Using Thunderbolt, we deal tons of damage and paralyze Skarmory until Steven uses a full restore. Rinse and repeat, we take Skarmory down to 1 HP due to his sturdy ability. Another quick Thunderbolt does the trick and Skarmory falls down. With Aggron next, we switch into Kyogre, taking some damage due to the spikes on the ground. 1 Origin Pulse and Aggron goes down to 1 HP, also due to his sturdy ability, and hitting back with the Stone Edge, dealing massive damage to Kyogre. Using Surf, we take out Aggron for good this time. Steven then sends out Cradily. As we have a type advantage, we stick with Kyogre. Kyogre also takes down Cradily to 1 HP as well. This is the 3rd time Steven. It's getting quite old. Steven heals up, as do we. Kyogre hits hard, leaving it again at 1 HP before we take it out of the playing field with a quick Surf. Play-Doh goes down with a simple Surf to the face. Armaldo also goes down quickly to just a Surf. Thank God, some of his Pokemon that can go down in one shot. His ace and final Pokemon is Mega Evolved Metagross. Metagross takes out Pikachu with a single Giga Impact. We send out Sceptile, taking Metagross to yellow HP before taking it out with another Earthquake, shaking his core to the ground. With that, we have beaten the Pokemon League and become the champion of the Hoenn region. Brendan rushes in, as does Birch, congratulating us on becoming the new champion. As we head up to the Hall of Fame, Steven stops Brendan from joining us, telling him to wait outside. Better try next time, Brendan. We head inside the Hall of Fame and write our name into history amongst all the previous champions of the region. As we head out the Hall of Fame, we see Brendan waiting for us. Brendan tells us that he wants to finish this journey the same way that we started it, together. Aww. We head out back to our little hometown and the end credits roll. With that, we have beaten the main story of Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and crossed out one of the many challenges for ourselves. As the end credits finish, we find ourselves and Brendan over at Route 103. The first time Brendan and I had our first Pokemon battle together. Brendan challenges us for our final rival battle. With Brendan still at 5 Pokemon, we take out his Swellow, Wailord, Breloom, Raichu, and finally his Mega Blaziken. Brendan tells us that's what he expects from the champion and looks up to the sky as a meteor shower starts to show itself and the text Pokemon Alpha Sapphire fades in. But that's not the end just yet. Time for the post-game, the Delta episode. Over at Moss Deep Space Center, we see all the scientists freak out about a world-ending meteor that is on a collision course to hit the region. It then pans to a woman in disguise as a Team Aqua grunts, as the woman takes off the costume and looks up to the sky, indicating that there's big trouble about to come crashing down. Back in our home in Little Root Town, we find Dad at home for once, and he gives us a pair of tickets for the Star Show that's being held over at Moss Deep Space Center. We head outside to give the extra pair of tickets to our good friend and rival Brendan. As we see the woman from before, she introduces herself as Xenia. After a brief one-sided conversation, we head to Brendan's house as he tells us that the woman before stole his keystone and tells us that she will be heading to Petalburg next. We fly over to Petalburg City, where we find Wally and Archie's right-hand man, Matt. Matt tells Wally to hand over the keystone. Wally replies that he doesn't have the keystone anymore. As Wally notices us, we help out Wally by taking down Matt in a battle. Matt shoots off to Meteor Falls as Wally thanks us for saving his butt. He tells us even if he wanted to give his keystone, he couldn't because someone stole it from him. And I have a clue on who did it. We get a call from Steven, and he asks us to come down to Devon Corporation, back in Respiro City. We get on Latias's back and fly towards where Steven told us he would be. We head inside and head to the top floor, where we come across Mr. Stone after a long time. Mr. Stone tells us the tale of the ultimate weapon in the war that happened 3,000 years ago. Since we played X and Y recently, it was a nice throwback to hear it in this game. He tells us that danger from space is upon us, and that we should go to Granite Cave, where we were first introduced to Steven all that time ago, and gather meteorite shards in order to stop the danger that's inevitable. He also gives Steven a link cable and sends it up to Moss Deep City. We make it to Granite Cave in Dewford Town and find Xenia staring at the paintings that cover the wall of the cave. She notices us standing behind her like a creep and asks us if we're ready to battle. My mama didn't raise no coward, and of course we battle her. We take our Tyrant Shim out with Earthquake, her Altaria with Dual Chop, and Salamence with another Dual Chop to the face. She hands us a meteorite shard as a reward before leaving the cave. We head to the Space Center back in Moss Deep to find Steven already in motion with a plan to destroy the incoming meteor with the scientists who work there. With the power of infinite energy and the power of the Keystone, they will attempt to make a warp hole that will send off the meteor into a different dimension. As the scientist tells us the plan, Xenia barges in. She tells us that we're about to make a great error and leaves. The scientist tells us that we will also need a meteorite shard that can be found at Meteor Falls. Steven and I head to the Meteor Falls to gather the meteorite shard. We find Steven all the way at the end of Meteor Falls, where he's talking to one of the Draconids, ancient folk tasked with passing down the knowledge of Mega Evolution and lore, and let's be honest, to everyone's lord, Lord Rayquaza. Xenia is one of the people tasked with bringing Rayquaza back to life and saving the world due to her Draconid heritage. Steven with the meteorite shard goes back to Devoncorp, and that's where we're heading next. Over at Devoncorp, the same scientist that we helped back get the parts a while back needs our help against Team Aqua again. One by one, we defeat each Team Aqua member before the scientist tells us a huge man with bulging muscles stole a control device for the link cable, and we have to get it back over at the Space Center. At the Space Center, we find a whole bunch of grunts that take us on all at once with a horde of mighty Annas. We defeat them and head to the control room, where Steven is ready to battle Matt. We join in for a double battle and take Matt and the grunt down. After the battle, a Wishmer comes in and snatches the control device from Matt. Xenia joins this whole mess, as she proceeds to tell us that what we are doing is wrong, sending the meteorite to a whole different dimension, and crushes the control device with her hands. We rush after her and find ourselves at the Team Aqua hideout. After completing the puzzle, we find Xenia and Archie. Archie, like always, gets beaten in battle, and Xenia snatches his keystone and leaves to summon Rayquaza at Sky Pillar. We find a Master Ball before leaving Team Aqua hideout, and stop by Steven, who tells us to talk to Wallace over at Sutopolis City. After more lore explanation, we finally sail off to find Sky Pillar. At the entrance of Sky Pillar, Wallace is waiting as he battles us to see if we are truly worthy to enter the sacred place. He just wanted to show his new team, which consists of Whale Lord, Milotic, Ludicolo, Wishcash, and Tentacruel. All that didn't stand a chance against our beast of a team. We enter Sky Pillar with Xenia waiting for us. She thanks us and calls us a good girl. I ain't blushing, I swear. Xenia talks about the lore of Lord Rayquaza. Thousands of years ago, a meteor hit where Sutopolis now stands. When Groudon and Kyogre wreaked havoc upon the region, the people's hopes summoned Rayquaza. Rayquaza, due to the keystone that was buried under Sutopolis and the wishes and hopes of the people, Rayquaza had become much more than itself, a changed form, nowadays called Mega Evolution. The first Pokemon to ever Mega Evolve. Rayquaza stopped the legendary Pokemon and drained their primal powers. Both Groudon and Kyogre vanished into the depths of the land and sea. On the markings of the wall, foretell a striking of a meteoroid, great enough to break the world, and in order to stop it, Rayquaza must be revived and summon once more. We finally head to the top of Sky Pillar. Xenia knocks us out cold. We wake up as the sun has risen. Xenia summons the legendary Pokemon Rayquaza. Rayquaza descends from the sky. Xenia then tries to use her Keystone to Mega Evolve Rayquaza, but nothing happens. The thousands of years have drained his power, and Rayquaza can no longer Mega Evolve anymore. Crushed by the reality, Xenia falls down to her knees in defeat. From our bag, the meteorite starts to shine, and Rayquaza swallows the meteorite as Rayquaza regains its strength. Being face to face with Rayquaza, we take matters into our own hands and battle Rayquaza. After lowering its HP and putting it to sleep, we catch it in an Ultra Ball. As the Lore Keeper, Xenia must battle us to test the strength and power of Rayquaza. We Mega Evolve Rayquaza and unleash the beast upon Xenia's Pokemon. Taking down her Gudra with Dragon Pulse, she sends out Triantrum. With Kyogre's Origin Pulse, we take it down. Altaria also goes down to a Dragon Pulse from Rayquaza. Noivern doesn't stand a chance against the legendary Pokemon. Finally, she sends out her Mega Salamence. But no matter what, Salamence also goes down to a Mega Evolved Dragon Pulse. Xenia deems us the new successor and the chosen one to stop the meteor. We put on a spacesuit and shoot up to the atmosphere on Rayquaza's back. Rayquaza Mega Evolves and crashes into the meteor, sending the meteor into bits. A mysterious triangle floats and shifts in a pattern only OGs would remember. Out of the triangle, Deoxys comes out menacingly. After a couple of attempts, we just throw the Master Ball and catch it on the spot. When we come back down to Sky Pillar, Aster hands us a letter from Xenia. We have saved the world once again, the second time in one playthrough. Xenia heads back to Meteor Falls. Done with her burden as a Lore Keeper, she can finally let go and have a new beginning. We cut back to the Space Center at Moss Deep as we watch the meteor shower with Brendan, and have a wholesome ending as we head back home. As the post-game ends, and another challenge is crossed off the bucket list. Norman, our dad, hands us the SS ticket, so now we can go to the Battle Resort. We step outside to find Professor Birch crying out for help, and we have another choice of starters from the Johto region and the Unova region. Respectfully, we choose Cyndaquil and Oshawott. To get the last set of starters, we need to beat the Elite Four once again. But before that, we head to Moss Deep City and head into Steven's home and find a letter addressed to us and abelled him as a gift. Now it's time to start catching legendary Pokemon scattered all over the Hoenn region. We head to the abandoned ship over at Sea Malvile. Here in the abandoned ship, we find a Spiritomb and catch it before finding a scanner, which we take back to Captain Stern back in Slateport City in exchange for a Title Bell, which if you play the Johto games, you will know who is coming up next. With the Title Bell, we head back to the ship and dive down and find a portal. In the portal, we find one of the legendary Pokemon on the list, Lugia. After some time, we capture it in a netball and head out for the next legendaries. For the next set of legendaries, we must complete a ritual first. We catch and evolve a Wailmer into a Wailord, and catch a Relicanth and place Relicanth in the first slot of the party, and Wailord at the last place of the party. We hit some currents down south on Route 134, and dive deep into an underground sea cavern. We dive back up into the cave and interact with a huge wall that appears to have some writing on it. The whole earth starts to shake, and we hear doors open up. While we're at it, we also collect the root fossil over at Route 111. Also on Route 111, we head into a desert ruin, and thanks to current day walkthroughs, we open up the door to our first Regirock. We catch Regirock in a timer ball, and head to the next one on the list. We set sail on Route 105 to catch the second Reggie. For this puzzle, we have to wait 2 minutes, so I take this chance to stuff my face with the Cinnabon. The door opens up, and we find Reggie Ice waiting for us. We catch it in an Ultra Ball and head for the final Reggie out of the trio. We head to the ancient tomb over at Route 120. We use Fly at a specific spot, and the door flies open, exposing Reggie's steel. We also catch this Reggie in our timer ball. Since we caught all the Reggies, we add them to our party, giving an Icy Rock to Reggie Ice, and head back to Route 105 in order to catch the big boss, Reggie Gigas, and catch him with another Ultra Ball. The next trio on the list is the Johto Beasts. With Lugia on the team, we can find different portals all around the region, where we find Raikou, Entei, and finally Suicune. We head back to the Weather Institution and pick up a Castform from the people we saved from Shelly. With Castform in the party, we can see huge black clouds north of the region. We head inside and find Thundurus waiting. We catch Thundurus with an Ultra Ball and head to the next trio on our list. Riding on Latias's back, we find nameless caverns, and in the caverns we find Mesprit, Azelf, and Yuxi. After capturing all of them, we add them to our party and fly towards a tear in the space and find Dialga waiting to be caught. We catch Dialga with a timer ball and head to the last trio on our list. On specific days, we can find Virizion, Terrakion, and finally Cobalion. After catching them, we name them the same names we gave back when we played Black and White 2 as a little homage to the past. For the last legendary on the list, we have to level up one Pokemon to level 100. To level up our Pokemon, we beat the Elite Four and their Mega Evolved Aces, and beat Steven once more, granting us another chance at picking up another starter from Birch. This time, we pick Piplup and keep challenging the Elite Four, but doing this would take so much time, so the next best thing is going to the Battle Resort and leaving a Pokemon in the daycare center, abusing the route system that circles around the island. But yet again, this would take 4 hours just to get to level 100. After some extensive research, we go with the secret metal tactic. Although it feels like cheating, it still uses an intended game mechanic. We add the secret medals through QR codes and obtain the level release from a woman back at the battle resort and head to the secret medal bases to challenge players with 3 level 100 Blissies. In no time, a Rayquaza holding a lucky egg hits level 100. With our level 100 Rayquaza, we head west to the Fable Cave to find Zekrom and capture it. With that, we have caught all the legendaries except Cresselia. To obtain Cresselia, you have to have access to the internet, but we cannot connect to it because the servers shut down back on April 8th, 2024. Another method for catching Cresselia is to find its Crescent Island. Trust me when I say, I spent 2 hours looking and resetting to find it. But with that, we cross out yet another challenge. Before we complete the last challenge, we use the Blissey method once more and evolve all of our starter Pokemon into their final evolutions. Now for the final challenge on the list. We head to Slateport City and enter the contest hall. We continue with our Pikachu and enter the super rank for the cool contest. With a great entrance, Pikachu starts ahead of the rest of the Pokemon in the contest. We take first place in the super rank contest. Next up is the hyper rank. With another great entrance, we start ahead of everyone else, but this time we come in second place. But that shouldn't stop us now. With some 300 IQ plays, we get first place and get to enter the master rank contest. This was hard. Having a bad entrance doesn't put us at an advantage. We failed multiple times until we gathered 5 stars. The audience loved us, putting us ahead of all the other Pokemon and Thunder Waving to startle the rest of the Pokemon and lower the stars they have gained. We win the Master Rank contest and the title of Master in the Cool Contest rank, thus ending the last challenge that we set from the very beginning. And with that, we have completed Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. With the game time of 27 hours, I love this game to the very last moment, and streaming on my Twitch channel was a great idea. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are such gems of a remake that I wish all Pokemon games were like this. Of course, it gets nostalgia points for being my favorite game as a child, but they took everything I loved and made it better. Adding Mega Evolution to a remake of the Hoenn region was such a brilliant idea, although most of the Mega Evolution is locked to the post game, but that's the only downside that I can see from this game. Even so, being locked to the post game made me want to play it even more. And don't get me started on the music. I love the music in this game, especially the classics like the Little Root Town theme. It really makes me feel like I'm back in 2004 and a kid again. The animation is superb too, alongside the plot and story. Rayquaza having a backstory as the Lord of Draconids and adding on to the story that was told back in the original Emerald games really makes me feel like this game was the dev team's favorite game, and they really wanted to stay true without adding a bunch of bologna sauce to it. Overall, if I had to rank Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I would give it a perfect 10 out of 10 score, but maybe I'm biased. So let me know what you guys think of the remakes for the 3rd gen games. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe even. These videos take more than a month to get out with all the streaming, script writing, voice acting, and of course editing. Speaking of streaming, I stream these games over at my Twitch, so don't forget to drop a follow there as well. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all very soon.